Yodels.
Dun, 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 dun. It's Crypto Night in Canada. You go, Ryan. You were going to say, yo, everybody.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying yodels.
Yodels.
You did your whole thing. That's it. Yodels.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, how is everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Crypto Night in Canada, episode number 56, actually. And we're in our new digs in Oakville, Ontario, and Bronte. We've done the move. We're not fully done, but we're done the move, and that's why you see a new background out behind us. We get a nice view of Lake Ontario, which is very exciting. Anyways, welcome, welcome. Candice, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. I'm not in Oakville, but doing good nonetheless.
And looks like Len's in.
That's
and
right, Len. We're right down by what's the name of the restaurant? Boathouse.
The Boathouse, where Ducky's is. We can see it right across the street. We're on Ontario Street now. Anyway, so Jason Spooner's here, Riley's here, Northern Island boy, Bleak, and we've got
we got a lot of channel members here tonight too. That's awesome.
We do. Do you think it's because of what happened today?
Why? What happened?
We'll get into it.
Oh, we're gonna get into it, all right. Chris is in the house, and Jill. So what we're gonna do? Oh, Owen. Hey, Owen, how are you? We haven't seen Owen in a while. Anyways, what I wanted to try and do is, yes, have a very realistic conversation about what's been going on today, but also to try to give some hopium. Not opium, not to be confused with opium. We don't do that on this show. We give hopium. And hopium is a good thing. And actually, I was watching Crypto Casey not so long ago, and she was talking about that the millionaires of the future are made in bear markets. So I think we'll jump into a little bit about that. I've got I got a commodity report out today that is kind of paints a bit of a realistic picture about what's going on in the marketplace. And I was telling Ryan and Candice that what I get is we're getting very futuristic views of the food procurement and all that kind of stuff, because we're buying out months and months in advance. And so we're pre-buying loads of either produce or we'll pick up livestock. We actually go to the auctions and we buy livestock. It's an epic game what we do in my business. I know, Ryan, you've got the inflation numbers as they came out today, so we can start with that.
I'll start with that then. So just some quick numbers. If you didn't catch my live stream today, then feel free to go get my opinion on that after this live stream. But today's numbers, we came in shy. When I say shy, it's we were worse just ever so slightly than the expectations, obviously. If you broke it down, the two worst areas, the two worst affected areas were public transportation and airlines. That were like record inflation. It was devastating and impacted by the price of oil, right? If we were to take just those two things out, we might have been on par, but still not quite. We're at 8.3%. Inflation on a year-over-year basis. I'm just bringing up this picture now. CPI was 8.3%, like I said. Energy, 30%. It's actually 30.3%. These are all year-over-year basis, okay? Energy's 30.3%. Now, that's not counted in core, but nevertheless. Used vehicles, 22.7%, okay? I got a wicked used vehicle story that I want to tell you guys later on in the stream when we chill out. New vehicles, 13.2%, okay? And I actually have a story about that too, because I was just at a dealership. Food, Nancy's area, 9.4%. Shelter alone, 5.1%. And that's expected to get worse. So I was listening to a European economist today before my live stream saying that Ukraine shutting down the wheat thing, nobody's really giving it the credit that it's due with respect to the amount of wheat that actually comes out of that area and how much that's going to impact us. And at least these two European economists, don't ask me to pronounce their names, they predicted that we could be dealing with the worst food shortage since the 40s and 50s, basically World War II. And it's going to be crazy. We can get into all this stuff. Nancy's the food person. I got lots I can say tonight. So does Candice, Tim, by the looks of it too. But that's just to start us off. Today,
Well,
We had
what was the price of airfare? Didn't I heard airfare when I was listening to Fox Business today? They said airfare has gone bananas. It was in like the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, that's what drove it. Airfare and then public transportation were the top 2, dude.
And
what are they driven by? The price of oil. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that airfare was 18% year over year.
And just to put Russia and Ukraine into perspective, 12% of all calories consumed on the planet come out of Russia and Ukraine.
Like, it's crazy. That's a really interesting stat. I didn't know that.
Calories?
Calories.
So, okay, because of wheat?
Calories consumed.
Wheat, barley, there's all kinds of stuff that comes out of there. What was that?
Vodka.
Oh, vodka.
Oh, vodka.
Vodka.
Oh, geez. I'm just trying to pull up my report. Sorry if you see a delay. We don't have our internet hooked in yet, so I've got to log in, tether off of things.
So just to give people an idea then, while you're loading that up, they expected 8.1 for the generalized CPI. They got 8.3. For the core, I believe that they had predicted 6.1 and got 6.3, something like that. Like the 0.2 percentage was truly, you could bring it back to those top 3 spikes. Public transportation, aircraft, I don't know what the third or fourth one was, but if you were to truly remove those, we might have been on par. So we've been, you know how we've been talking on at least my live stream, I think we mentioned it last time, we're seeing that potential top for inflation. Today's numbers did kind of help us feel like that's actually a possibility, just because we
But do we really believe the numbers? Like, here's what I'm always skeptical. Are they not being manipulated? Like, so how do you have such high inflation in all the other categories, but housing's 5%? How does that even make sense?
And that is such BS. That is such BS when you have a $500,000 house being overbidded by $200,000. So that it must be absolutely I don't know. Who am I to say? But I don't know how these calculations are done. It seems
a lot of this goes on what the Fed reports, right? I mean, is this not driven by the Fed? And no, the only reason I say that is it not, and I may have this totally off, so correct me, but Powell's still waiting to be confirmed, right?
No.
Powell? No, he's way no.
What the hell were they saying about Powell getting the?
That was like 6 months ago or whatever when Biden came into office. So that's done with. And how they settled that was they had the other person, Brainerd, the very knowledgeable lady. She took co-chair position. That's kind of Biden's person. But Powell's still running the show. Our next Fed hike is going to be June 15th. Thing is, remember how Candace was saying, I was saying, it's because Jerome Powell was saying, I'm not going to do a 3/4 point rate hike. No way. That's not in the cards, right? But everybody believed we would have a soft landing today. Everybody. Okay. Every freaking person thought, okay, we've been doing this for a year. We got decent results coming out. Failed again. I don't know if this justifies a 0.75, but what's interesting tomorrow, because this goes into Nancy's realm, is the producers price index. And I find that to be more interesting because last month's producers price index told you right away that we're going to have a garbage month this month. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a leading indicator, but the PPI comes out tomorrow. So that's almost more interesting to me because you got Nancy over here, future buying nonstop. She's seeing the price of cows, wheat, corn. I could go on at all-time highs, and it's not changing. Am I wrong? Or like what's the realm?
It has not changed. I can read. This is the executive summary. So this is like, just consider what I do. Like, I'm a commodity buyer, but I don't actually do the buying, but I get these reports so I can advise clients as to what's coming. So the executive summary today, and this is the May 2022 report. Food inflation has been driven by a series of supply shocks over the last year, including crop problems, transportation snarls, war, and high pathogenic avian influenza in world poultry flocks. Through it all, strong consumer demand took higher prices in stride with few signs of slowing. In the last few months, however, consumers have finally responded to high food prices by shifting purchases to lower cost alternatives. Many food commodity prices have stalled at the market as the market wait to see if near record high prices are rationing demand enough to balance with smaller supply. Because again, we've talked about this on the show. Supply and demand. is a key component to why the prices are so high. If everybody's still asking for these things, then the demand is still high for it all, then the prices can keep going up. It's when the demand starts dropping that then the pricing can get more back into line. That goes for housing. It goes for every single thing across the board. So they're saying that in North America, we are seeing consumers trade down on protein choices and switch to lower cost private label options. Other parts of the world are struggling with hunger as low income consumers find basic food needs unaffordable. And then you add in, there's the next thing they're saying here is the weather. The La Nina weather patterns continue to stymie food production. Cool, wet weather is delaying planting in the north and the Midwest. Hot, dry weather is plaguing winter wheat and cattle grazing in the southern Great Plains. So we're having a late start to the planting season and the cattle crop. So this is like the perfect storm of crap, basically. So one piece of good news, higher prices appear to be curing high prices. As world food demand weakens, prices could top out. So, for instance, some of the things that we're noticing, and there is a seasonality to how we buy food. And you think about your own buying behaviors. There is a seasonality to it. And again, if you look at this supply and demand, the spikes go up and down for various things. Like right now, what usually goes, back rib prices have returned to their normal premiums versus other prices because, again, what are we heading into? We're heading into barbecue season. So think about the things that go on a barbecue during the summer months. Those type of things spike in prices. Like you're going to find your grind meat is going to do the same thing. I think I saw something about that. Just let me scroll down slightly here.
How long do you, just while you're looking for that, Ryan and Candace, how long do you think, if at all, we would see something more common other than the odd shot of what Candace's background is in stores here in North America?
Let Candace go for Canada and United States are going to be very different, but let Candace go first.
I think, it's going to happen. Like right now, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the shortages. One of the big issues right now is that demand is not going down, and there's a huge reason for that. If you look at the U.S., for example, in this year, they've created 2.2 million jobs. There's a lot of people who've not had jobs who now have jobs and they're flush with cash, and they're going to be spending. That's what happens. If you've ever gone through a period of not having money and all of a sudden you're flush with money, you spend like crazy. That's what's driving this whole demand, is all these new people who've entered the job market. Because when you hear about people, about jobs not being filled, that's not because where people are all staying at home. It's that there's so many new jobs. And even right now, for all unemployed people in the US, there are 2 jobs for every unemployed person out there that are unfilled.
Yeah, it's great. All of this.
We have to also just kind of put on our general common sense cap here and go and think in our heads, how does the United States go from really borderline sustainable job opening jolt numbers to 11 million job openings? It's obviously because they've changed the definition of what is an unemployed versus employable person since the pandemic. There's no freaking way in a downturn in the economy do you create 11 million jobs without recognizing and changing the status of a certain group of employees that are no longer in the workforce. And and that to me, just like throw on your cap, because how do we have 11 million jobs out of nowhere that in a down economy? How is that? Like, that's Candace, I'm just genuinely curious.
No, it wasn't 11 million. It was 2.2 million.
No, we have 11 point something million job openings in the States.
Oh, okay. Openings.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, is how are these jobs created in the worst time we've ever seen? It's obviously because there are people permanently displaced out of the workforce now, and it's indicated as such, right? That's my gut feeling. I don't know. I mean,
Or it's
That's my
created
gut
by the
feeling,
source from these job openings come from.
Well, and a lot of it too is a lot of the job openings that are out there. There's just the people who have the qualifications are not available anymore. So they're sort of looking for people, but there's nobody who can actually fill them. So they're in a situation where they're either going to have to start lowering what their needs are, like maybe go back to old school and bring people in with absolutely no experience and train them from the ground up.
Banks are doing that to this day.
Well,
like TD Bank has removed the resumes.
But we've all been in a cab or an Uber or something where we talk to the driver and they seem to be highly educated. Why are they driving Uber?
Because they're trying to stack cash. That's a part-time job, dude. That's probably some extra cash, in my opinion, if they're a highly educated person.
Nowadays.
Not only that, though, both conservative and liberals have made it hard in Canada to transition your certifications from a foreign country. So that's a bitch right off the bat. And you almost feel bad for these people because you're being driven around in an Uber by a surgeon. You know what I mean? And you feel bad.
And yet someone with electrical experience can get to work quicker in their industry than a doctor could.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rules are super strict on doctors.
Yeah,
a lot of times they have to go back to school for years once they've gotten here, even though they may be a world-renowned surgeon in their country.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's a lot of stereotypes that go with that, though, and we all play up on that stuff. Like, would you rather have your surgery in Canada or Mexico? Even though they're probably the same, I just mean the stereotypes out there make that really bad.
I have friends that live here in Oakville that they would go down to Mexico to get their stuff done.
Dental.
So much more inexpensive. They will make a vacation trip around their dental needs.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, when you take a stereotype like Mexico, it's not that the doctors are bad. It's just that their equipment is not as nice as all the shiny.
But we assume that though, because quite honestly, there's a lot of really fantastic hospitals in Mexico too. We're just assuming that there are all these ragtag town type hospitals. Like in Mexico City, they've got some of the most state-of-the-art equipment ever. Like Mexico City Hospital works with Johns Hopkins. It's like, it's one of those funny things where healthcare has such defined stereotypes that it's almost like I'd rather keep it in-house. I feel like it's one of those things. People just, regardless of sounding insensitive, they'd almost rather keep it in-house.
Yeah, like here, Keto Lion says lots of dental stories I've personally heard. I've heard this so much. I have friends that literally, this is what they do. They book their vacation to Mexico to be able to go and see their dentist and have whatever thing done that they need to be done. Anyways, to finish the food conversation, so here's a couple of things. Grain prices remain strong as feed stuff sources remain tight. The Ukraine-Russia has increased the pressure on supply for wheat and oilseed, which was pre the conflict significantly strained as a result of COVID. Inflationary pressures will continue to impact producer cost well into 2023. So we ain't out of this until after 2023.
I think everyone should really, because getting into the hopium thing, look at this as an opportunity, because we're never going to get one like this again, to accumulate the stuff that we love at the cheapest prices we're ever going to see for the next long time. Yeah. It's amazing.
And so avian flu, which has been circulating around the planet since the turn of the century, has again reared up and is causing short-term havoc with supply. So I was talking to my sources at Maple Leaf, because they're big chicken producers, or they don't produce the chicken, they process the chicken. They said that what you're going to start to see in the grocery store is because they can't get their hands on enough eggs that will, the eggs that actually produce chickens. So they need to get enough eggs to start to produce the chickens, because there's the eggs we eat and then there's the eggs that hatch the chickens. So because they've got such a problem, it's going to take a while to get the inventory back up to speed. So what he was saying is you're going to start noticing they're going to cull the birds quicker than they normally would. So your breast
They're going to what?
Cull them. That's how you, instead of kill, you cull the herd. So they're going to cull the herd faster than they normally would, so they can get inventory back out on shelves. So what does that mean? You're going to see breast size smaller, right? So right now, when you go to the grocery store, you see these very large breasts. That's from birds that had been grown to the size Tim Danter.
Oh, I got so many dad jokes going through me. It's killing me. It's
I know.
killing me. This
you set him up big time.
I know.
But this is a family show, and I can't say that. Oh
no. So
you should hear
the crowd. All of those jokes are probably rated D anyway.
In my head right now.
Anyways, so the breast meat is going to be smaller, and because breast meat is typically sought after more than the thigh meat, the thigh meat actually is tastier and it's cheaper. So here's a couple of tips. He said if you're talking to people and the end consumer, buy thigh meat on the bone. It's cheap. The less processing they have to do, the cheaper the product is, and it's more flavorful. So you just cook it off, take your bones, and then you can use that for broth and whatever. But don't be surprised if what you start to see very soon in the grocery store are smaller breast meats, higher price, because they can't get enough eggs to hatch enough chickens to move through quick enough. So that's one tip. The other thing is that the price for these producers is going up because of two factors. The feed, because again, if we do not have product being grown in Ukraine because they've been threatened by the Russians if they put a crop in, we're going to have a real divided situation as far as what are we going to do with this grain and the corn that is being grown? Is it going to feed livestock, or is it going to go to feed us? Like, these are all the things that are going to start to happen. And
also,
so that's going to
Russia and Ukraine, a lot of the fertilizer comes out of there too. So that's another issue.
Yeah. And in addition, you know how fuel costs go up? Well, think about how much it costs to heat or regulate the temperature in coops. Like, these are very large buildings. They take a lot of energy because they've got to circulate the air for proper ventilation for all of these chickens. Because these are like long growing. If you've driven through the country, you've seen them. They're very, very, very big, long houses. And if it's free run, that means they're free run within these long, long houses. But it needs to be, the air needs to be circulated. Like, there's a lot to go into that.
It's the gases from the poop.
Not with chickens. That would be the cows. Not really. I don't think anyways, they don't fart the way the cows do. Poop. Yeah. Well, they poop, but they don't. It's not. Anyways. So a couple of the other things to keep in mind. Sugar. 2022 U.S. sugar production has been revised with lower inventories, which are now becoming really tight, and the prices are going higher and higher. Flour, wheat prices have gone high enough to slow world consumption. Think about this. Wheat prices have gone up high enough to slow consumption. We are now in the middle of a critical northern hemisphere growing season. So let's hope we have a good season, because if we do not have a good season, we do not have a backup plan. And then the soybean oil, record high frying oil prices are rationing demand worldwide. So they're rationing oil. This is why the price of your French fries at McDonald's, you're not going to get anything cheap at this point in time. They gotta factor in all that frying oil. Indonesia halted palm oil exports to make sure that poor citizens could still afford oil in their own country. Demand in other poor countries is being rationed. So they're starting to ration what they're sending to save some for their own citizens. And this is just mind blowing what's about to happen. And again, not to scare everybody, you just need to be aware, and we just need to modify. I know Ken said it on his program. We need to modify what we're doing and modify our expectations. Like, I went to McDonald's to get you something the other day, breakfast, I guess. We got, 3 egg McMuffins because we split a second one, and hash browns, and coffee was $29.
What?
Holy banana bread.
Whoa.
McCain's,
well, I paid, it was mother-in-law's birthday today, and one large pizza with 3 toppings was $18.
It doesn't seem as bad as 3 friggin' English muffins for $20, $29. Damn, I'll choose the pizza, dude. 3 English muffins and a coffee for $29.
Oh my goodness. Look at the freaking Oracle. Did you hear about peanut butter? It's nuts.
He's Trump. No. Tim's the joke guy. We leave the jokes to Tim here.
You can just picture him sitting at his kitchen table howling over that joke, can't you?
He's doing it right now.
Oh, he probably is.
Yeah.
That's all right. He's allowed to.
Yeah.
So ground beef prices are up 50% year to date as consumers switch to value options to stretch their food dollars. Like, these are just some of the. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's anything else.
I can't picture our society getting back to what I used to see or what we see as the old days of soup kitchens and food stamps and rations. Like, I don't see it getting to. I can't even see with, like, Candace, your background there. I can't fathom us ever getting to that point.
You probably won't in urban areas, but in rural areas, there's a good chance. Shipping in rural areas is totally different. So is allotment too. Between
La Nina and climate change, we may have a horrible growing season in North America. I'd say the odds are better that we have a horrible season than a not horrible season. So buckle up, folks. It's going to get rough in the fall.
Yeah. So again, it's just about, well, you know what? It's a good thing that we were all stuck at home for 2 years and we gained so much weight. I literally could fuel myself for the next 2 years. No problems. I already stored up.
Yeah, no, if you see a sale nowadays on anything that is non-perishable, start stocking up a little bit. It's probably going to help you out.
Yeah. And here's like Ryan Green is right. He's been buying coffee beans instead of grounds. Beans seem to be cheaper now. So here's the thing. Anything I'm touching buttons. Anything that you can do to process stuff yourself is going to be cheaper. Because again, the labor shortage means that anytime that a company gets anybody to come and do anything, they're coming in at a higher price than they ever have been before. So that means that anytime they touch anything, do anything, then it's going to cost you more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, to finish this off, there will be opportunity buys though out there, and you'll all of a sudden you'll go, why the heck is that so inexpensive? Like, there'll be the odd thing that will come in from time to time. And this goes back to anything that we get from overseas, because where they were delayed with some of the containers coming over for the Christmas season, they've now received double containers. So how people buy, they're buying for 6 months out. They're putting their orders in now. So I guess we'll go back to the fish example. They know what they want for fish because they have an idea of what the demand is going to be. So they placed the orders, what they wanted for this spring coming in now, back in January, because they have to go out and catch the stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a delay in getting some product from overseas because of the shutdown with the Olympics, and then the subsequent, like they've a lot of the Asian countries have had real challenges with the cooties again. So they've shut everything down. So all of a sudden we didn't get any containers, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of containers come, which means there's too much product of stuff that was supposed to be bought for way back when. So there could be opportunity buys that happen. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Very much. I'm sorry, I was just distracted. Hey, Ken, what's up, you crazy son of a gun? Redbeard said good bacon is insane, as in he's talking about price. And this is a random question. This goes to all 4 or 5 of you guys, 4 of you guys. Seriously, so when you buy the cheap bacon, right? It's the 450 gram, whatever, right? It's like half fat nowadays. It's disgusting. Like, it's so cheap. And that's like $7-8, right? I'm at a point, tell me if I'm wrong, with bacon, I get those 1 kilogram packages of the really thick bacon, and it's meat. and it cost me $20. And I did the division by freaking 100 grams because I'm a psycho like that. And one, it's cheaper, believe it or not. And two, to buy the $20 pack of bacon is way cheaper than to buy the 7. One, it's cheaper. And two, there's like triple the meat. I don't know. I don't skimp on bacon. That's my thing. I don't know why I brought that up, but I was thinking about it.
And it's funny, just before the illness, that 1 kilogram pack was like $12.
Was it? Now,
yeah.
I might be lucky to find the 1 kilogram pack. I always buy a ton. I might buy 4 or 5 kilograms like at a time if I find it at like $12.99 to $14.99. But usually it's like $17, $18. But either way, it's still 10 times cheaper than buying the cheap shit. But that's how they get. That's how they get people too. They're like, I'm going to try and save money. So you get like the $7 bacon, which gives you half fat, no meat. You're eating total garbage. That's how they get. It's almost like the lower class is always doomed to fail just because the cheaper food is always garbage. Like, and I mean, so garbage.
Does everybody know, do you guys know how to convert things back and forth and what you should be looking for as far as weight on things?
Like, you mean pounds to grams?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like 454.
Do you know how to do that quickly?
I can do that like this in my head. Yeah.
Well, so for Candace, do you know how to convert quickly?
Yeah, I just asked my watch and it does it.
Okay, so Candace wins the prize. that works. So when I was selling to independent restaurants, oftentimes because we're a Canadian company, everything is in grams or kilos and things like that. But that's not how cooks do anything. They're trying to get it down to the ounce price. So you multiply by 2.2046, and that's what will get you the amount of pounds in a kilo. And then you divide that by 16, or you multiply it by 16, and then that gives you your ounces. So if you can get everything out to the same measurement, then you'll start to be able to go, okay, how many ounces are in this? And then you divide that by the dollar value, so then you know what you're paying per ounce. Because
I usually do grams, but it's the same thing.
Grams,
same thing. Yeah.
Because you're younger, so you think in grams. But for older generations, oftentimes, and cooks.
I don't know if that was a good dad joke or not, but I related that to something totally different. But yeah, Ken gets it.
Thinking about drugs, I believe.
That's what I thought you were referencing. Yeah. No. 454 grams equals 16 ounces equals 1 pound, and 2.2 pounds equals a kilogram.
Yeah. It actually, if you do 2.2046, like Gary said, seriously, that 0.46 makes a difference. So you go 2.2046 pounds is 1 kilo. So if you're in kilos, you go the opposite direction. You divide by 2.2046. That'll give you how many pounds you've got. Then you multiply that by 16. That gives you, because there's 16 ounces in a pound, that gets you an ounce price. So then you want to divide your total price by ounces. This is how these companies get you, because nobody does the math. They just go, oh, that's probably what I paid the last time. But as I said, the chicken breasts are going to start getting smaller. So you're going to be, when you see the price the same, so say it's $9 for a package of chicken, but you're not going to realize, but I'm getting several ounces less. So I'm actually paying more.
Invisible inflation.
I only use grams because I've never seen a chicken weighted in ounces. That's the only thing. No, but I get it. People should be doing the math more often though, because it's really quick math to round. Even just doing rounding numbers in your head, you can differentiate between high quality, low quality. Usually comes out to be the same price if you buy bulk high quality. Yeah. You can usually figure that out pretty quick in your head.
And apparently 2 ounces in the bush is worth 1 gram in the hand.
Oh my goodness.
I also am not a fan of chicken thighs. I'm going to be honest. I find them so greasy when I cook it. It makes me sad. I feel like I have to boil a chicken thigh before I cook it.
Use your air fryer. Gets
but
crispy on the outside. Ken knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, look, it'll taste like KFC, but then the grease gets locked
in. Hey, now, weren't you supposed to buy an air fryer there, Rye?
I have got so much going on right now. Actually, I got some stories that I want to tell you guys actually for later on.
But if you use an air fryer, you'll also save hydro.
No, I'm not spending money on this stuff right now.
Oh,
I can't.
Did you hear? Oh, today I heard that there are 11 new regulations coming out in the appliance industry.
I love red tape.
Hand to God. Hand to God. And I don't know whether it's a joke or not, but it's all in conserving energy. So it's going to take longer to do your toast. It's going to take. So that's what. I'm not kidding you, Nick. They swear to God, they came out and they said there are like 11 new regulations coming out for appliances.
Well, you know what? How long ago did we get low flow toilets? It was only a matter of time before we get slow cooked toasters, right? It's just a matter of time. This is the thing. We also need the extra energy to mine our Bitcoin, don't we?
No, exactly. Exactly. Hey, before we jump completely off of the food topic, I have a pet peeve. This really irks me to no end.
Is this a joke?
Nope, totally not a joke. Have you ever noticed you go to the grocery store and you go to buy a package of wieners and it's 8, 12, 6.
No, Nancy, what you're doing to me right now?
To get your buns and you got a package of 8,
12.
There's never any buns that match the wieners. You can't buy a 4-pack of buns and buy a 4-pack of wieners. You can't buy a 6-pack. You have to buy multiple things to get it all to add up.
What it is like a perfect example of marketing beating us. Like we fully get on our knees for these hot dog and hamburger companies, knowing full well they're screwing us on either 2 burgers or 2 buns. We get on our knees and they're like, you're going to do it. You're going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, it's like we do it. Basically, you eat your wieners and then you've got 2 buns left. So what do? You go buy some more wieners, but then now you've got no buns. So you go buy some buns. Now you need to buy wieners.
I almost feel like so taken advantage of when they make me do that.
So, okay. Now,
no, get this. No, can I tell this? Hold on, Nancy. Let me say this. I bought sausages the other day at the grocery store, okay? And I bought some buns. I got 6 buns and I got 5 sausages. Those friggin' assholes, dude. Now I'm going to sit here throwing out a bun, giving it to Eddie, who's going to poop everywhere. Or I got to buy 5 more sausages and more buns, too.
You use that extra bun in some soup.
No, I don't use bread and wet bread. You want to make me throw up in here, bro?
In soup, you toast it. You toast it in your half-hour toaster.
No.
Or hour and a half. You know, I can't wait to see what Timmy's going to do about this. That's going to be kind of insane.
Or you find the lowest common denominator and you buy the right number. So
I don't care. What they're doing is it's almost insulting. We go to the grocery store. They're like, you want sausages? Okay, well, I want you to spend more money on this. Like, I don't want to. You have to, bitch.
Okay.
Like, they force you to do it. Is it just me?
I think it's them.
Okay. Okay, they did warn us this could potentially happen.
Yeah.
Fix your cell phones or whatever, guys, or it's glitching out for a second. So yeah, Candace, that ticks me off. What is it? What ticks you off at the friggin' grocery store when you're going there and they just force an upsell on you without realizing it?
Well, I mean, the thing that ticks me off the most is just the way the product placement is. Everything at eye level is pretty much your worst deals. So, I mean, if you want good deals, you got to look at the top or you got to look at the bottom of the shelving. And they've just psychologically built everything to try to suck you into spending a whole bunch of money. And that annoys me very much.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a question for you, Candace, because like I'm only one person. Ken's got a whole family, but you're probably more relatable to me, Candace, than Ken is because he's got a whole family. How often do you go grocery shopping? Like, because it's just so limited, like, do you have to go often, like, to get fresh food, or do you just do like a one-off once a month? Like,
well, it's hard to say. I mean, like, we get a meat shipment that usually is about once a month. Yeah. Like
one of those farm to fork things?
Yeah, exactly.
How is it?
Very good. It's good meat. And usually when he comes to, he always has eggs on the truck. So you can get a flat of fresh eggs. And these are good eggs. Like, they're so good that they weigh twice as much as an egg the same size that you'd get from the grocery store.
Really?
You can just feel the nutrition in these eggs.
Okay. So it's like an under the table thing though. Like it's a farmer's eggs?
Yeah. And like
okay, cool.
The almond milk comes from Amazon. So then it's just a matter of every so often, one of us will go over to the Walmart, which is like a 5-minute walk. to get something we need.
Yeah. I have a hard time. I find I have to go grocery shopping more times than I'd care to, man. I hate it.
But you're probably just sort of buying a couple small things each time you go.
Yeah. It's just vegetables, man, because I cannot eat a salad every day for 5 days just to get rid of a head of lettuce. I can't do it. I know I should eat salad every day, whatever. I don't want to even hear it from people in the comments, but I'm not going to eat salad every day. Okay.
Eat cabbage. Cabbage lasts a lot longer.
No. Don't even tell me to eat cabbage. No. Hell no.
It's extremely healthy for you too, man.
I don't give a shit. It tastes like garbage, bro. Dude, if I can't eat a
so
Caesar salad,
but you do that too.
Yeah, but
if you hide the lettuce in a bunch of meat, it's not so bad.
Well, that's potential.
We go every Sunday for groceries.
Oh, you're a weekly guy?
Yeah, once a week.
Yeah, not too bad. I try to, just to make my trip worthwhile, I almost try to go and get a lot of non-perishables lately. Like I'm trying to load up on that stuff. The way I figure it is let's pretend I couldn't leave my house, I was in jail or I don't know, like couldn't leave my house or something, whatever, right? The way my fridge, freezer, and non-perishables are stacking now, I could probably survive for 2 months eating really comfortably. But I'm a single guy, right? So like a full freezer is going to feed me for like a long freaking time. But yeah. So someone do me a solid, text Tim and Nancy to see if it's just us. Oh, okay. They're back. Okay, the timing on that was classic.
I reached my maximum and Rogers stopped it and gave me their sales pitch to either upgrade or pay, or pay 40 extra bucks for 10 gig for the remaining part of my bill.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you? So you don't have internet set up? Is that the deal?
No, I actually, because Bell pissed me off. You know who I found it for internet that the people upstairs are using? Virgin.
Oh, Virgin is internet?
Virgin is owned by Bell, so they use the Bell lines.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, so by the way, Candace,
I'm getting 50 down, 10 up for $70 a month.
You get okay, nice. I don't even know what my internet is here, but the day I have to. How much is internet? Good. So you said $50. What's the average or whatever for internet these days?
Bell. Well, I've got 25 down, 10 up at the cottage, and I am $90 a month there.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I was going to say that Rogers and Shaw deal, literally within 12 hours of Candace's live stream, I gave her a shout out for calling it. They got shut down hard by the Competition Bureau.
Yeah.
Not shut down, but it probably will be shut down.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the thing. As soon as I heard the deal announced, I went in there, I watched Shaw's price go up, and I sold immediately.
Well, it's funny because Candace, I heard about this Competition Bureau thing a long time ago, but nothing was made out of it. And then I started kind of hearing about it again just recently, and I was starting to put the pieces together. So Bell and I don't know who else is here, but Rogers and Shaw pretty much own Alberta as it is, right? Like that's it, pretty much, right? So Rogers buys Shaw. There's virtually zero competition in the province of Alberta. So that's the kind of thing I was like, oh, yeah, I could see where they're coming from. There's zero competition now. But
yeah. Well,
Shaw sucks in Alberta already. So
yeah, also the fact that Shaw owns Freedom, and Freedom is getting pretty big.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's another part of it too. Yeah, no, right from the very beginning, I was just like, oh, this is a shaky deal. I don't think it'll get through. And then when it looked like it was going to get through, I was just like, well, I took my profits. I don't feel any shame. And
are you gonna take that deal we were talking about on your? Well, I've already done it. I let my channel. Jill knows if she's a channel member. But are you gonna take the Activision deal, or what are you thinking? I've only gone light. I went 30 shares. It's not like it's light, but I mean, relative to everything else, I went light 30 shares. I figure I'm gonna put $1,000 in my pocket.
I have a few.
What are you thinking?
I have some. I'm in.
Oh, you're in? You're doing Activision?
Oh, yeah.
I honestly, that to me is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay. I was curious what you were thinking on that.
Yeah. Well, especially after I was thinking about it and I was mulling it over, and then the news broke that Warren Buffett bought a whole crap load of it. And I was just like, yeah, okay.
Keep this in mind, Candace. That's his second tranche. He already bought a ton, but no one paid attention to him.
No, absolutely. I know he had a sizable amount already. And they've always been a company that I've thought there was a good possibility for them. So, no, I was absolutely happy with that.
Yeah, easy money in my. I'm not going to go too crazy on it, but
no,
like my 30 shares. Like I said, if I can net $1,000 for a quick little, arbitrage implies zero risk, but I'm gonna call it almost arbitrage when Warren Buffett's involved in a Microsoft deal. It's like, okay, I'm feeling a-okay about yeah. For anyone, I'm gonna make a video about this so no one steal this idea, because now that I'm rocking and rolling, I have to. But for anyone who wants like 18 to 21% guaranteed, I can't say guaranteed.
I already made a short about it a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's okay. No. I got to make a video about it though, like a hardcore, because it's people aren't like people look at the stock price. It's still at $77, as if people have totally forgotten. It's like they're so caught up in negativity, they're forgetting. Like, I almost think that if someone was truly on their down and out, the one move I'd make if they only had one move left to make, the safest move I'd make, Activision. And I mean, I'd put the whole cake there if they were in that desperate situation.
Yeah, well, they're not on my radar for making a video. I think, tomorrow I've got inverse ETFs, so I'm excited about that one. But
nice.
Yeah, I figured this is the perfect time for that.
Yeah, that's a good video. Okay, so yeah, that's a very good video. That's pretty much the only thing that's printing cash for me like crazy lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that inverse ETF, HSD, that's the only thing that's printing like crazy. Owen said a while ago that I strike him as a toaster strudel kind of guy. And I just want to let Owen know I've never actually even seen a toaster strudel.
You look like a Pop-Tart guy.
Well, I've eaten a Pop-Tart. I don't even know what a toaster strudel is.
It's like what's a Pop-Tart? But they're kind of lame. They're like limpier.
Okay, so like the gross version of a Pop-Tart. So like if a Pop-Tart was the hip 18-year-old, the strudel would be like a retiree.
Yeah, like the grandpa.
Oh, okay.
Strudel tastes better.
Tim's face on that one was rich. Still good, man.
Yeah.
Just different. Just different. One has more wisdom, tried and true in history. The other one's a Pop-Tart.
And I think Pop-Tarts have much more variety.
Maybe.
I think your mute is on, Nancy and Tim.
Yeah, they've been muted for
either that or they're just having a private conversation.
I just said I don't know what I walked in on, but I guess I missed out on the end of my hot dog and bun story from the food show.
Yeah, it was just Ryan telling us that he's an evil Pop-Tart, and we're all saying, yeah, whoa, cool, man, dude.
Okay, you guys are funny. So we've talked about internet. We've talked about food. I think because this is crypto night in Canada, maybe we should talk a little bit about what's going on in the crypto market. What do you think?
It sucks. It by the dip territory. Let's get into it.
Luna is tuna.
Oh, okay, just hang on 1 second. Before we get into that, can I ask Candace a question?
Sure. I think you just did.
Okay. Was it not this time last year? Maybe Ken could answer this too. Was it not this time last year we were all on and we were new to we were new to YouTube, and all of a sudden we were all on together and the markets took a dive. And what did we say? Everybody was feeling bad about it. And we just said, stay the course. Yeah. Stay the course. Everything will be fine. And it bounced back. If you like the projects you're in and they had utility, then stay the course.
Yeah, no, exactly. Roughly a year ago today, people were basically going, oh my God, Bitcoin wicked down to 28K. We're going down to 20K or 10K. And I was kind of like, no, I think we're pretty much close to the bottom.
One thing I'll say is this, and let me say this. Each and every single one of us has been wrong calling the bottom. I've been wrong. They've been wrong. Ken's been wrong. Candace has been wrong. Every single one of us. I thought that I would easily hit the 30s. Did I see the 20s happening like this? No. No one could have even predicted it. So there's one thing I've realized for everyone who says it can't get into the low 20s, it can't get into the teens. There's one thing crypto taught us is that it does whatever the hell it wants. So we have absolutely, I mean, if you believe in the projects, like Nancy said, if you believe in it, dollar cost average your ass into it. I've already started DCAing my butt into Bitcoin a little bit and like a few $100s. And now is where I feel comfortable. And the funny thing is, I still believe I'm going to be able to buy Bitcoin for slightly more expensive than your buy-in point, Tim and Nancy. But I bet you I'll be in that realm. I'm willing to bet. And it's just, but we can't bank on that. That's why you DCA in. And we also have to consider this. Bring up the entire Bitcoin chart, okay? Don't bring up from 2016, 2015. Forget that. Adoption change. It's not even it's apples and oranges, okay? So bring up like 2020 to right now, okay? We're at that like 50-50 line, which markets have said roughly 45% of any Bitcoin owner is underwater, right? So any Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. 45% of all Bitcoin owners are underwater as of now, CNBC says. We're at that perfect 50-50 mark, okay? That is the perfect time to dollar cost average in. Anything below that 50-50 mark means you're getting a discount and a half. That's why I've started. I started at like 33 and a half, and I'll buy it all the way down to $2,000 if it goes down to $2,000. I'll do it. But I mean, we need to think about, do you believe in Bitcoin? Yes. Then dollar cost average, forget the price. Now, one thing is, though, about May of 2021 that's different about right now of 2022. May of 2021, we saw a very minuscule dive in the stock market, but a massive dive in crypto, right? Now we're seeing a massive dive in stocks and an equally massive dive in crypto. So this could perpetuate itself even further. But would NDA be better to DCA than straight Bitcoin? I would never say that, bro, because NDA doesn't focus on Bitcoin. They focus on the alt and decentralized space. I would say if you're into the decentralized finance, Neptune might be good for you. If you're only into Bitcoin, you DCA into Bitcoin and you forget Neptune. That's me trying to be totally unbiased. I love Neptune, but if you're not into DeFi, then forget Neptune all day. But I love Neptune. I'm just going to put that out there. But like, I think now is at that point when you have roughly half the investors underwater at this point. That's an amazing point to start buying in. Like the amount of retail investors that have their average right around 25 to 30, incredible. Not to mention how many liquidations have we experienced in the last 2 weeks? We can track this stuff, right?
Oh, there's a guy. Hold on, there's a guy that I talked to. He shorted Bitcoin, made $240,000.
Good for him, man. I mean, when you short the market, but this is the thing: when you know the market's going to go down, short it or sell it. Simple as that, right? Like it's an easy money. That's why hedges make money. It's bank. But we have to think like, so where does the retail trader though come back? Because this is the problem is that, you know how they say that the typical stock and equity bear market can last 12 to 18 months. Okay. We've been about 6 months into this bear market so far. Okay. What the hell is Bitcoin going to do? I don't know. I mean, could Bitcoin be, because this is the thing, when you start to watch CNBC and I have these dum-dums like, so is Bitcoin a scam now? Think about the average person. I know, Nancy, obviously it's not a scam, but I'm thinking there's only 3% of us invested in Bitcoin. So think about the rest of us in Bitcoin who are listening.
But okay, so I want to present another possibility of what's going on here. Okay. I have a really good friend who is very wealthy, who has been buying in the real estate game for a long time. And he sent me a couple of messages today. And one of them was, he says, crypto is taking a beating as you know it. They are pushing it down intentionally, or they would have never sent out such warnings that they were doing it. So I said, so true. I said, why do you suspect they're doing this? Do you think they want to drive the prices down intentionally so they can scoop some up? He says, possibly. He says, all their money laundering capability is being taken out. They have been stealing from us for decades. None of the taxes you pay stay in the country. Inflation is theft as the dollar devalues. It is all artificial. Just to name a couple of myriad ways they steal. I don't know what the specifics of their plan with crypto is. However, I I knew this was very likely scenario for various reasons. There's a very complex situation going on behind the scenes. It is a covert war that they have lost. It involves every nation on the planet. It started in earnest in 2001, and the outcome has already been determined. It is a very positive one for everyone except for them. But they are playing out their last futile moves. It would be a long conversation to introduce the background, and it would likely be that it would probably sound so out there that you would not believe it initially, depending on how psychologically invested you are in the current stories that we've all been told, and they're not even close to the truth. I was aware of the general direction several years ago, but I had no idea how complex it really was, and that it would take up until now and perhaps until 2023 for it to even become public. And even that would only be a portion of what has really been going on. It will take considerably longer for the rest of it to be revealed. We are living in extraordinary times, and you will not believe how amazing the outcome is going to be for you and everyone in the future. Hold tight.
So he's just referencing Bitcoin, right?
Referencing crypto in general.
Okay, I will say he sounded like me a little bit on a Friday night. Let me just put that out there. Okay. No. Well, is it wrong for me to say that? I mean, the guy was passionate as hell about what he believes in there, but like, I mean, okay, you know what my opinion is that, remember how I made a video a while ago about this, and it was comparing the 2018 market to the 2021 market, as in 90% of the alts were wiped, right? 90% of the alts that we know of now are going to be friggin' wiped out. So I don't know about crypto in general. Bitcoin, I think I believe in Bitcoin. I'm at a point where I'm putting cash into Bitcoin. But altcoins, Ken is going to be wanting to kill me when I say this, but outside of playing the launches, I don't know how you could be a long-term investor in alts or anything. Like when people say crypto, like I hate to become a Bitcoin maxi, because Bitcoin maxis really piss me off because they're closed-minded and stuff. But it's like when you experience what we're experiencing now, like there's a reason why everyone in this room would prefer to invest in a large cap stock versus a penny stock. There's a reason. It's tried, tested, and proven.
But but here's the thing. We are like the early days of the internet. There were projects in the early days that are gone today, but everybody was super excited about. Nortel was one of them. Nortel, we rode that. We rode that up and down. You want to hear something interesting
about the internet bubble? Cisco. Do you guys know the company Cisco?
We sure do.
Okay, so Cisco, their peak in the internet bubble, took us, we're not even there yet, by the way. Right. So if we're wondering what kind of bubble this could be, and let's say Apple gets down to $95. I mean, if we repeat 2001, which I doubt because information moves faster, so the timeline will probably be shorter. But let's just say it even took 3 or 4 years to recoup this BS. Altcoins are the literal last peg. That is the last peg.
I kind of disagree, and we're gonna pause for a second, and I'm gonna ask Candace something specifically. Candace, do you still believe in the projects that you have invested in?
I've moved everything to Bitcoin.
What? Everything?
Everything. There's absolutely nothing in any altcoins whatsoever.
She said that a while ago. I'll back her up on that.
Yeah, I basically, I've lost, it's not that I've lost confidence. I think there's so much volatility in the altcoin system right now that it's much more risky to be holding any assets there. So I've moved it to a safe harbor, which is Bitcoin.
Everyone's got to keep their risk profile in check. Everyone has a different risk portfolio or different risk profile, risk reward. Like, let's talk stablecoins. I was talking to Jason Spooner the other night, and he's like, the only stuff I have left is stablecoins. And I was just kind of talking to him, like, outside of Bitcoin and ETH or whatever. And I was just talking to him like, I don't get stablecoins. And it was just me free balling, chit-chatting. And I'm like, it's like cash because it's worth $1, right? It's worth $1. So it's like cash, except you can't access it for days or weeks at a time. So it's not like cash, even though it's the same as cash. It's pegged to an inflating dollar. Okay. So the dollar you already don't like. That's why you went into crypto, but now you're buying a crypto that's pegged to an inflation. Okay. Whatever. That makes no sense. And now we're getting the Lunas out there who are showing that the peg doesn't make a friggin' difference in the world when you have fluctuation in the underlying backing asset. So it's like, do I want to hold cash or do I want to hold a really shitty version of cash? Stablecoins. My bank, a GIC, will give me 4%. USDC will give me 7%. But there's risk in the USDC, but no risk in my GIC. Where do stablecoins go from here, and why do people hold them? I mean, outside of maybe what Ken would do because he needs it as a mechanism to trade alts, who the hell thinks that the 7% is yield is worth giving up every aspect of what makes our cash? Cash already sucks, but the only good things about cash, stablecoins have taken completely away from it. So now it's tied to an inflating dollar, and we have no access.
Well, so let me ask Ken the same question. Ken, do you still have yourself in projects that you believe in?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Ken ain't going nowhere.
But I don't trade in stable coins though. I trade in Ethereum and BNB.
Cool. I actually thought, I'm so ignorant. I thought BNB was a stable coin. I'm stupid. Oh, okay. Someone just brought up a comment. Jason okay. Did anybody take a read through the Coinbase earnings? Okay. Highly doubtful. But one thing they said in the earnings, the only thing I cared about, okay? So they're FDIC insured. You know how Wealthsimple has our crypto wallets insured by whatever the hell Canada does? So they're FDIC insured down there. Whatever. Okay, cool. That makes people feel good, right? So they finally disclosed that if they were to ever go bankrupt, the insurance does not cover crypto. The crypto will be lost, not your keys, not your coin. So therefore, Jason, I will no longer ever store my crypto in Wealthsimple, even though I believe that it's not going to go bankrupt. I'm putting it in my ledger. So Coinbase has flat out said that if they ever go bankrupt, the insurance does not cover your stuff.
Is that this article from Fortune? Because down further, it talked about, in that whole thing, it talked about that there's never been a situation to date where a company that's holding individuals' assets, that if a company has to go bankrupt or something, there never once has they ever held, I'm not saying this correctly. Let me find the passage.
Well, look at Mt. Gox. Look at Mt. Gox. That was even before all of this BS, right?
That was a hack, though. Mt. Gox was different.
Okay, and that's the only reason why you're being covered by insurance, though. Because if it's not a hack and it's just a failure on the business, you lose everything. You lose everything. So the hack is the only thing that's insured.
Right.
That's the thing. So that's why I'm so glad you just mentioned that. Mt. Gox, exactly. The hack is the only thing insured. But if Wealthsimple goes under look, the odds of it are 0.001%, okay, that any of these things go under. But the point is, they're not covered under bankruptcy laws in the United States. Can't speak for it here in Canada. So for me, that sealed the deal. I ledger all the way. I'm going ledger now. It took me months and months and months to figure it out. I'm going finally ledger. I don't care. I don't care. That's for me. But anyway, that's a Coinbase thing. Has nothing to do with Canada. I don't know Canada's bankruptcy laws, but for Coinbase.
So just to clarify, though, in comments shared on Twitter, Coinbase CEO and founder Brian Armstrong said the exchange had no risk of bankruptcy and that the disclosure was made due to new rules set by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission regarding public companies that hold crypto assets on behalf of others. The disclosure makes sense in these legal protections have not been tested in court for crypto assets specifically, and it is possible, however, unlikely that the court would decide to consider a customer's assets as part of a company's in bankruptcy proceedings, even if it harmed the consumers. So he says your funds are safe at Coinbase. That's what's the problem.
Until they hit bank.
No.
Because that's not what they're saying. That's not at all what I got from CNBC today.
Because that's mainstream media, Ryan. They're telling
I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. Like I read that entirely myself, and that they are susceptible to the bankruptcy proceedings because they are tied. The company owns the coins and not the person.
But here's the thing: most people don't read all the way to the very end. they're not in jeopardy of being, well, you did, but
but
most people don't read it all the way then. They're not in jeopardy of going bankrupt.
Exactly. You're right. That's why I said it's like a 0.0000% chance. But just the fact that there was even a chance, I just thought I'm just happy using my ledger. No, I completely agree with you. Like they're never going bankrupt. Like I get it. That's not going to happen. It was just the fact that, yeah, I agree with you 100%. They're not going to go bankrupt.
This is what's happening is everybody's getting a lot of fear out there. And I was watching, as I said, Crypto Casey, she's one of our go-tos. We like watching her. She talks a lot about the fact that it's in the bear market. It's in these downturns when everybody makes the money. But as long as you haven't lost anything if you don't sell it, and as long as you believe in the project, just stay the course. We did this. We just went through this last year. Just stay the course.
Yep. Look, every single one of our lives has gotten better since the moment we all met last year. I think that's true. If we're talking about financially speaking, because I don't want to get into personal shit for anybody. Financially speaking, everybody's lives have improved. The one thing that we're good at is always arguing about what to do next. And then we come to an agreement and figure out usually dollar cost averaging into what you believe in and holding the line. I was saying this to Nancy beforehand. Too many people, everyone on here, we have agreed. We're not day traders. We don't day trade. I don't even engage with you if you're a day trader, okay? I don't think like that. So 90% of people, everyone here is like that. And yet we judge crypto from a day trader's schedule. So that's where we've got to take a step back and think, now this is our problem that we're stressed out because we knew this already. We went through this last year, the exact same thing, where my ETH was worth 5K and went down to 2,500. We went through the exact same freaking thing. So let's stop judging it from the lens of a day trader, knowing we don't trade like that. Let's look at it from the lens of a long-term investor, expand your time horizon, and let's chill out a little bit and recognize that 2022, how many of us wish that we had 20 grand or 10 grand in 2008 or in 2020, March 2020? This is our March 2020. This is our 2008. Buy. And then come back to me in 5 years and tell me if you regret it. Simple, because I don't day trade. So don't come back to me next week that Apple went down. Don't care. Come back in 3 years when Bitcoin, you know what I mean? People got to start expanding the time horizon here.
Yeah. And I love what Keto Line said. What are the bigger chances? Them going bankrupt or you losing your passcode? I worry about losing that passcode all the time. It is a huge concern.
That's true.
Ken, how are you feeling about it all? I know you posted some things in Crypto Night in Canada about this is an opportunity to buy for you.
Oh, big time. Big time right now in certain projects.
So what are you buying, for instance? What are you buying?
I'm buying more into ETH docs. And their utility is doing KYD, which is Know Your Developer. So a developer can go through them and get verified, all their information to get a background check done on them to prove they are who they are, saying that they are, and all that kind of good jazz. Find out all the dirt on these developers to see if they're actually, true to what they're going to be developing or whether it's just a rug pull.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 4% back in ETH for every buy and sell that happens. There's only 1 billion tokens available.
That's awesome.
And it's got a sister one on Binance Smart Chain as well called Docs as well. So
yeah, that's awesome. And of course, Spooner thinks you're a legend. I thought he was the Oracle.
Well, if he's a legend, then we could call him the Loracle.
Loracle, there you go.
Dr. Seuss made me up. There we go.
Oh, that's like the Lorax. Yeah, I know.
If you have
hard not to be afraid.
Yeah, if you have faith in the projects that you're in, just take a couple of steps back and think about why you originally bought into them.
Yeah.
And if it still looks good to you, then DCA in even more,
Can I say this about the foursome, fivesome that we have here in this crew? Because not all, actually, each and every one of us tend to disagree with each other more so than we agree all the time. You know what I mean? And it's because we're all friends. It's because we all get along and we're all trying to learn. I'm never going to pretend to know about alts, and I'll say I'm going to get rid of him, never touch him. This guy knows how to make bank. These guys are the solid hands that you need in a time like this. Candace has got information coming out of you know what. It's insane. And then I'm an opinionated SOB, right? So it's like this whole crew is absolutely legendary. Just to get off of Jason's comment, Ken's a legend. This whole freaking crew is absolutely legendary with respect to the differences of opinion. We tend to come to the same place, but it's like a figure eight. We almost take totally different paths there, but it's our paths there that make this whole thing kind of interesting. Because if we all just, because like I said, we all get to the same place. We all know Bitcoin's going up. We all have faith in the market. We all did see this recession coming. We all get there. Our individual journeys is what makes the foursome, the fivesome truly unique. That's why I'll learn about alts from this guy, but I don't have the nuts to try it myself. But I love learning from Ken. I'll tell you that.
I'm not on the path. I am the path.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And SM Finance said, that's why this is the best community on YouTube. You guys are great. And it's the community that makes it. So everybody's opinions. I mean, that's how we all started learning. We learned from each other. I used to write down when everybody'd say, has everybody heard about this project? What's going on with this one? And we'd write it all down and whatnot. I mean, it's fair to say, even if you were a Bitcoin maxi, you're hurting this week too. I mean, there's a lot of people hurting. That's all there is to it.
All I'm going to say is this. 46 or 7% now, given the prices, let's just say 50% of any Bitcoin owner is in the red. Okay, you're part of the freaking minority with your buy-in point. Seriously. So you and Robert Kiyosaki bought at the same freaking time.
Yeah,
you're safe. And it's like 50% are done. Let's look at Marathon, the miner at $54 a few months ago, now trading at $7. Riot decimated. Okay, Hive. Can I talk to you guys about Hive for a second? I went kind of mental on it on my live stream today. Just because for whoever still owns it, I feel bad. But if you don't own Hive, there's going to be an opportunity like you've never seen with Hive coming up when crypto still dips a little bit more. That's because they are reducing the shares outstanding. Do a 5-to-1 reduce or reverse split. Okay, let's say they go up to $7. Crypto's still going to come down, obviously, right? That's what I believe, at least. Crypto's still going to come down. So that $7 turns to $6 to $5 to $4. Mind you, that $4, let's say it gets to $3. Now there's only 82 million shares on deck. There used to be over 400 million, but it's gone down to $4, $3 again. If you don't own Hive, wait for the consolidation, wait for a dip. You will literally own so much more of the company by a measurable percentage versus you buying today. And I mean that. So it's like if you want to buy opportunity on a company like Hive, it's coming big. And it was announced massive with that 5-to-1 consolidation. Now, for people who own it, in the short term, you're going to really feel pain. It's going to suck balls because they're going to reduce your shares by a factor of 5 and the share price will be reduced. So it's going to, you're going to really, really feel pain. Long term, it'll recover itself. But in that short term, when holders feel pain, newbies who want in at the best allocation of shares total, holy crap. If you're talking about you guys know me, I'm not even into Hive. Okay. I like Neptune, but when they came out with that news, I don't think I can even look away from that. For anyone who seriously wants a good buy, when Hive starts peeling off of that consolidation price, Jesus Christ, even 1 penny off of that consolidation price is a better deal than anyone who's ever owned Hive. Okay. That's a fact. That's how that works by the 5-to-1. So the second they have a 1 cent dip, you're already getting a better deal. So you wait till that dips straight up, guys. Hive really looks like it could have an interesting 9 months with opportunities. I know you guys like Hive. I don't know if you still have it or whatever, but
you still have any Hive?
I don't know what we've done. To be honest, it's been a while since I've gone back and checked.
Yeah, that's how long term we look at things.
Well, that's good. That's good because it'll really, really look bad short term, but it'll be incredible for long term. And I think for newbies, it's going to be a really cool buying opportunity. But anyway, wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. So, okay, when do you think that that's happening?
Well, the consolidation is supposed to take place on or before May 20th. Okay. Now, what happens after May 20th with crypto pricing? Who knows? I do believe crypto and the economy still has a lot to fall. That's my personal belief. So, that being said, after the consolidation, I expect crypto to fall. Now, this was my idea as well. For the first time in a long time, Hive dropped below $1 US. Okay. $1 US. They're at risk of being delisted from NASDAQ after just being uplisted a few months ago. So they did their consolidation to bring their stock price up, and they said it's to encourage investment. Bullshit. It's so you don't get delisted. Okay. So you know what it makes me think? Because if they go off NASDAQ, the company's toast. Like they're really going to feel the fire. So they can't get delisted. So they have to keep their share price above X amount, which is typically $5. Hence the 5-to-1 reverse, right? But this is the thing. They're only doing the 5-to-1 reverse because obviously they believe crypto is going to fall. If they didn't believe crypto was going to fall, then they would have done a share buyback because they would have assumed that this was the bottom price for crypto, because then the share buyback would have been more effective and they wouldn't have to consolidate shares, right? So the fact that they did this absurd move of a 5-to-1 reverse split shows me that they are ahead of the curve and preparing for the downswing, further downswing of crypto. Because if Hive got to 50 cents, they'd be delisted. They can't afford that. They're already at 97. They got to get back up to $6 so that they can afford another downswing, you know, and still maintain their listing, right? So to me, this was a preemptive strike and a total indication that this company believes in particular that crypto still has a minute to go. And that makes me feel good, even more confirming to my ideas that this is an accumulation year. We're going to see blood and we're going to just buy it all up. But Hive would not do that if they believed that we were at the bottom. That wouldn't make sense.
It actually still would make sense.
No, it wouldn't, because a buyback would make 10 times more sense if this was a true bottom.
No, but if they're not 100% sure it's the bottom, you're going to make that move anyway just to protect your butt. Because if you're wrong, then you get delisted off the NASDAQ and then you've got a lot of trouble.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. So exactly what you said, of course, they're prepping, but they're at least considering the fact that this is going to go way worse. That's what this
always. I mean, there's always the possibility.
Well, of course, but no other company's done this.
I mean, my giant channel has been killed, so anything can happen.
I think this is a preemptive strike, and I'm willing to bet you that we're going to see crypto prices that we didn't even think are possible 2 weeks ago. We don't even think are possible now. Still willing to bet that. I really, really, really believe that, because we haven't even hit the worst of it. We're really just getting started on this whole shit. So for me, Hive doing this was genius on their part, because they removed the possibility of danger to the company by a delist. Sorry. And at the same time, though, that gives me an indication, letting me know that this company's prepping for worst case scenario, like Candace said, not guaranteed, worst case scenario of potential serious downturn. So they're prepping for the future. But just the timing of all this stuff, you know what I mean, Candace? Like to come out to one night before our inflation data. You know what I mean? I got that email. I'm sure everyone who subscribes to Hive got that email. It was at like 10 o'clock at night yesterday. And it's like they know something. The timing of it's too coincidental. And it also sets them up for a failure. So it's like, I don't know. I'm taking all of these leading indicators. I'm taking all of this and I'm putting it into a basket. And I'm saying that of all the money I've saved, I think there's a better time to buy. That's my only gut, but I have started DCing. But I think what Hive did was really telling. That's, again, though, a tinfoil hat opinion from me and me alone. But
yeah,
no, and that's fine. And I think DCing is the smart way to go, because the last thing you want to be is you don't want to be that person holding your bag of cash, waiting for the bottom, and then all of a sudden we get that reversal and things are going back up and you've missed it. At least if you're DCing on your way down, you're still going to be in great shot, even if you miss the actual bottom, which most people will miss the actual bottom. It's very hard to time it.
Well, the problem is that even I think money is just flowing out of all the markets right now because people are just trying to pay for what they've bought. over the last 2 years. Think about all the people who bought in these insane home prices. Think about that. Like then you got taxes. You got like everybody who did well in the market. Ryan, you know this. Everybody who did well last year had big tax bills. This is the month of May. People are having to foot the bill for taxes. Like some of this is natural, what normally happens at this time. Now we add in all this inflationary pressure, which we haven't seen for 40 years. We knew that this was all coming. It is a great reset.
Bring up Brody's comment. It might be a new friend for you. It says, someone messaged me after this call so we can set up a call. A friend of a friend turned me on to you guys. Well, that's a good friend of yours, Brody. I think we could talk about some very interesting crypto-related talk. Well, how about, this is the Tim and Nancy Danter channel. You got to get a hold of them, but I was telling people to buy Bitcoin at $500. Okay, well, might be a new community member to keep our eyes peeled for. Brody Riley.
Brody,
did you buy that Porsche with your Bitcoin? Tell me right now you did, because then you've got some credibility, bud.
And Dave D says he's buying the dip. I think you're still DCAing in on your DCA challenge, right?
I've doubled it now.
Tim's doubled up on the DCA challenge.
Okay, I know this might sound stupid. This might sound really stupid, but I'm so cheap and stingy on certain things. When Bitcoin has mental drops, and if you think it's a temporary drop and you spend money at X grocery store or X gas station, go buy a gift card, okay? The amount of Satoshis back, it's not 2% of Bitcoin that you get back. It's 2% of the cash. So if you have $100 and you get 2% back, that's $2. But the thing is, $2 buys way less Bitcoin at 70,000 than it does at 29,000 or 28,000. You get double your Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin's really, really down, don't forget about your Shakepay card, okay? Use your Shakepay card, especially now more than ever. And this is a fact.
States and stuff. So I've got the NETCOINS and the Bitcoins, and I gotta. You know what I should do is I should get all my Bitcoin or Satoshis off of NETCOINS and get it over. I'm not that impressed with NETCOINS very recently. So,
buddy, you know what I'm thinking, dude? I tried out NETCOINS, I tried out Ledin, I tried out all this stuff, and it's like I couldn't even promote them. Are you not starting to realize that there are so many fun things in crypto, but the more you get used to it, you have your best friends and you don't deal with anyone else? Like for me, I've got Shakepay, and I don't want to know anyone else right now. Like, that's it. That's all I got. And I got maybe Simple. I got my Ledger. Like, are you finding your crypto circle, not of people, but of resources, maybe tightening by choice? For me, it's 100%. I refuse to use BlockFi and Ledin now. Like, for me, it's tightening right up. What are you thinking? Start with you guys. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I'm really not. I mean, if you're referring to when we would buy Bitcoin or Ethereum and be able to make some money back on it, holding it in BlockFi or whatever the case is, you know, we'd had this discussion, the four of us, last year, and it's a marketing thing. Yeah. However, it's just like it seemed that BlockFi would reduce its rate for what it was giving out on its its staking or whatever you wanted to call it at that point. And then there'd be like a Ledin or there would be like a Celsius that would give you something better. Well, they're all doing it now. So it's like
it was a matter of time, right?
When you talk about, I believe I'm starting to sort of be the belief that when you're talking about of everything in your portfolio that is the most important to you, and the most important to me is my Bitcoin, is my Ethereum, and is my XRP.
I got a question for you before you lose your train of thought, and this has to do with Candace, okay? Let's pretend you have $10,000, okay? Would you rather that sit in USDC or whatever the hell it's called? Would you rather that be in a stable coin in Ledin, or would you rather that be in EIT, collecting 10% dividend? What feels safer to you?
Oh, EIT.
Obviously, and that's why I brought that up. It's like, what is the point of these services? Like, For Bitcoin, I get it. It's nice to earn some change, but when you top out at your max on lead and at 0.1 Bitcoin, it's like, can you do me a solid and never call me again? Like, well, you're annoying at that point.
We have to be like that publicly to our community and to have talks like this so that they know that we're not just crypto, that we do see the opportunity in taking it out of a USDC investment and putting it over to an EIT, which, by the way, is a killer deal. Thank you, Candace.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, the only problem with EIT is its year-to-date performance is pretty freaking low. That makes up for the fact that it's a 10% yield. I was doing some comps. You can find some REITs out there that have yielded 15% year-to-date. That's my only thing. My only thing, I'm still afraid. It's like, do I have to buy EIT right after distribution? Like, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, right after the ex-dividend date when it sells off. Like, that's my only thing with EIT.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and I'll just re-say this again, is that we do hold a lot of our investments in the stocks or in the mutual funds. You know, the Enbridges, the Synovus, the Atcos, the ones that Candace goes over on her show. We've been in those for over a year now. So, you know, just because this is crypto and we talk about crypto, we talk about this and that, we're not that, I'll say it, stupid to know that we're not putting all our eggs in the crypto basket, because today and this week is a prime example of when I would prefer to be in an EIT or whatever, but I can't. You know, I can't, because that's what you call time in a market, and you can't do that. Plus, you got to have time. Plus, you got to have the time to be able to do it.
But we've got to recognize, I just brought this up, 1330 was what the price opened at the beginning of 2022. It's at 1349. When you have a dividend above 4 to 5%, you almost always give up growth. So the 10% dividend really isn't a 10% dividend. That's a 5% dividend plus a normal company with 5% growth. You know what I mean? So keep in mind, EIT's been banging out, but the fact that they haven't moved an inch year to date really is pretty epic, considering the S&P and NASDAQ is down like crazy. This almost makes me want to get into it. There are some. The only reason I can't get into it. No, you want to know why I can't get into it is because Ryokan outperformed EIT. As simple as that. You add Ryokan growth and you add the dividend. It outperformed it by a ton. Now I sold off at $25.86 for Ryokan. It's at like $20 now. So like I have no freaking clue what it is, what the deal would be now. EIT is obviously better in that space, but I would say like on a short term, I did better with the other one. But the only thing that killed me with EIT was I'm always like, remember Candace, I was asking you one day about Labrador iron ore. And we were talking about how distribution day was typically kind of like a deadly day. And that's the only thing is when I get above like 7-8%, and I'd love to hear from you guys, but I think Candace knows better. Like, do you see the fluctuations? Not that she knows better, but she's got a lot of experience. Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. But like, do you see the fluctuations like when you get above the 7? Because that's the only thing that scares me.
It really depends on the company. I think the reason why EIT is such a good deal right now is that they're completely invested within the energy sector. And they have a little bit in the financial, but they only invest in financials that are supporting the energy sector. So because that sector is doing so well, EIT is just going to cruise along on cruise control until that sector has had its run. And I don't think that's going to be for a while. But here's another little nugget. If you're looking long-term, like EIT, I like them because it's giving me that constant inflow of cash. But on my longer term scale, I'm really bullish on CNR. Like they're usually pulling off about between their dividends and their growth. You're looking at about a 25% return a year or so.
And that's something I'm so glad you said that, because I've been thinking about buying CNR. I just want people to consider, because Brendan Beavis makes these videos. He's like, let's get 10% dividends. And retail traders always tend to be headline readers, right? And they don't go into the details typically. A 10% dividend typically means you're giving up your growth, typically. And I think that's very fair for me to say. EIT is a perfect example. But then when you nailed that, CNR or whatever, their dividend is like this compared to EIT, but then they've got the growth factor going in too. I think that that's something, not to take a dump on EIT because I'm like debating. I want to get into it myself. I'm just saying, like, people have to take into consideration and don't be headline readers all the time and stuff like that. But CNR, Candace, what is driving you mental about CNR? Because it's been tickling me lately.
CNR, here's a huge thing about CNR. Two things, actually. One, they're a major part of our supply chain. They're absolutely 1 billion% necessary. Two, they are also the railroad that pulls all of our resources out of the north that we're now sinking a whole bunch of money into so that we can start to really pull the essential minerals out for EV and technology. So they're going to be involved in that. The sky's the limit for them, really.
It's so funny too, because when with all the options out there in the space, there's the Teslas, there's robots, there's things that are changing the world. And then there's CNR, a friggin' railroad company that earns more and is more guaranteed safer than almost anything you could probably invest in right now. Mm-hmm. And people forget it because it's a boring old railroad. And it's like that's the failure of the retail investor is focusing on the exciting instead of the boring, which is why I love CAN so much. But CNR, I did not know that they're exclusive to the north, or like, what about CP? Like, CP
has a small amount, but not very much, nothing compared to what CN has up there. Now, where CP is going to be interesting, CP is going to have at their road their tracks into Mexico because of where they got the Kansas City deal.
Yeah.
So that, I think they're both going to be good, but short term, CP is not going to do as well because their stock and their growth is going to be down a little bit as they finish absorbing the Kansas City deal, because that does affect your cash flow for a little bit. The other beautiful thing about railroads, and I didn't know this until I did research, because I recently did a video on CNR. So watch that video. There's amazing stuff in it. But I did not know that how much cheaper it is to move stuff by rail compared to truck.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I did not completely realize that. And I figured it was, but when I actually did the research, and it blew my mind. It was just like,
it almost makes you wonder why there's still trucks on the road.
I know.
Seriously. No, but when you get all these issues, you can't build railway infrastructure unless you've got the manufacturing kind of in place. You can't get the manufacturing in place unless you get Quebec and all these other places on board when it comes to our natural resources and what we actually need to ship, right? It's so true though. But I will say this is the unfortunate story of did you guys live in Ontario? Did you guys remember hearing about Lac Mégantic in Quebec?
Ooh.
So it's a town in Quebec
that blew up.
Like the one where they left the break off.
That's why Quebec is so hard lined against any oil, any pipeline, any of that stuff. Like the train derailed, and like the whole town was like incinerated. Like you can't even find dust of people. Like there's empty caskets. Like, so rail is dangerous, but truck, if we're talking about going green, the Trans-Canada Highway's got 1 billion trucks on it 24/7. So, but the funny thing is, we're not going to be building any new rail infrastructure anytime soon. I know that. I can almost guarantee you that. We're not going to be building any new rail infrastructure. The best part is, though, their premiums will keep going up because of that. That's why I like CNR. Candace nailed it. Their premiums are forced to go up like that. Also, has anyone seen the friggin' Tesla semi-truck that they've tested out and driven? It is mind-blowing. The fully electric self-driving truck. I bet you we'll see a lot of those before the next 5 years. I don't know. I'm psyched about it. But CNR was interesting. It was tickling me lately, Candace. I was curious on your opinion.
CNR,
I was debating CP. Because like CP, you'd think they're going to have a lot of action between the United States and Mexico, whatever. I mean, that being more Americanized, they've got the bigger population base. I'm thinking CP's more guaranteed. But then what you just told me, you're kind of, so is it fair to say, Candace, tell me if I'm totally wrong, call me an idiot, do whatever. If I buy CNR, am I betting Canadian? Like, is that more betting Canadian than buying CP? Like,
no, because they're connected in the States.
Yeah, the CN
I know,
has
but it's just
huge-
if they have access to the north, which in my opinion will be one of our greatest natural. Or sorry, Tim?
they go from the north right down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay,
They
so
just don't go into Mexico. But they do go down to like Texas and
whereas CP does go into Mexico, right?
that's right.
that's Kansas
Well, they
City.
will once they've got this whole thing settled with Kansas City.
Right.
And think about it this way, because CNR hauls a lot of the oil and stuff that comes out of that industry as well. Well, we're all the refineries down around the Gulf of Mexico. That's why they've got the tracks going down there.
So CNR is your bid if you're going to bet railway.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They're my number one pick, and my second pick is an American Railway. My third pick then would be CP.
Okay.
So CNR for the win.
CNR definitely for the win.
One thing though, to get back to the very beginning, I just have to keep people in mind.
And just a very quick question. Gary asked about Bill Gates. Yes, Bill Gates actually is the majority shareholder of CNR. He owns more shares than anybody else.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the things you learn
I just wanted to put that out there.
Canada.
Oh, sorry, Nancy.
I said that's the things you learn on Crypto Night in Canada. Not much about crypto, but we certainly talked about stocks tonight.
Yeah.
I think maybe we need to change the title of.
Agreed.
That's what we were talking about last week. We were thinking about it should be like crypto or or lifestyle and investing or something along that line. And
I think that sounds good.
We should do it. So
like the financial Danter banter.
We could do that. Or we could say the Danter banter dishes with rye canvas and the oracle.
Or you could call it Danter's dollars.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. But I think maybe that we've sort of, I don't know if anybody has any other things they want us to talk about tonight. You could rapid fire in the comment section. If you really have things you want us to talk about and touch on, we can do so. We certainly didn't solve the bun and the hot dog, situation earlier.
There is no solving it. No, they've got us. They bent us over and they didn't even spit. Like, it's over. We got totally wrecked. And you know what? It's over. We got wrecked on the buns. We got wrecked on the sausages.
If I think about it, Ken, I'm coming on Friday. I'm going to poke the bear with Andrew about that.
Oh, yeah. Let's mention it with Andrew. Let's see what he has to say.
This whole topic's been very bunny.
Oh,
boy. You know what side your bread's buttered on, don't you?
Okay, this is a question I had that so this is a genuine question. I know Candace might be a little bit different. I'm not going to ask you, Candace, only because I know that you're a little bit more fluid. You're probably more like me a little bit, whereas Tim and Nancy Danter are so rock solid on their holdings. And I mean, has this not, because I remember even saying, and not that anyone was right or wrong, but maybe not this cycle, but next cycle, are you guys more open? Like, for instance, let's say we come into a time like this, Nancy, where everything in your soul tells you that the market's going down. And Tim, every bit of common sense you have tells you. Like, is there any part of you that would ever consider flipping Bitcoin? Like, or is it just not worth the risk for you?
Not worth
the risk. Okay. I was curious. Yeah.
I know Mark Lazarick keeps telling me, why don't you sell? And then you can buy in at because we're in profit on it. So he says you could buy more as it goes down. Sell it now, then you could buy more. I'm like, I'm too damn busy. I can't, I don't know. Like, I'm not, that's that day trader mentality kind of thing. I bought it.
But I mean, the only reason I say that though, Nancy, is because you and I in particular have been eyeballing this exact scenario for 6 months now. Yeah. And I mean, we were both called dum-dums and being freaking negative Nancys all the time. And like, you know what I mean? Straight up, people were calling us that all the time. And it's like, for me, I got rid of everything I had right around it doesn't even matter when I got rid of it, but it's like, so you guys aren't even considering not even a little bit of it, eh? And I'm not saying the day trade. I just mean, if ever we had a 2022 again, you wouldn't think like, this is obvious, maybe let it go or some of it go, or no. So okay.
I have that
point,
much.
no.
I have that much belief that Bitcoin will be worth what I think it will be worth by 2030, and I'm just going to hold it.
I just realized actually it might. Do you think if your cost basis was higher, it would make a difference because you're now incurring it? Okay, so a lot of that might be because of the taxable event that you're guaranteed to incur. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
So okay, I want to go back because Sandra did have a question of something she wanted to talk about. Predictions on how long the recession will last.
Can I tell you this before we get into this? I thought that was a real person posing because I could never see a close up of the picture. It's a friggin' Barbie doll. I thought that was their actual problem. Like, okay, whatever. I never took a look at it. That's a Barbie doll. Okay.
I thought
there's 41 people on the show doing this right now.
I thought it was a person too. I'm like, what's happening here?
I never looked.
So, before we get into that, Zach, I like your suggestion. He says, do a panel-based talk. Do like 6 topics a week, each with about 15 minutes scheduled, 5 consistent topics, and 1 new one each week voted by the community. Got to think of a new catchy title, though. Okay, that's a good suggestion, Zach. So any predictions, Candace, how long the recession is going to last?
Well, it has to begin first.
Yeah.
Technically, it hasn't even begun yet. So
that's right.
Technically, I would, in fairness, our last economic report for GDP was negative. We're probably going to get a confirmation that this one's negative too. Do you think we're in the recession, Candace, or do you think there's actually a shot we have positive GDP next reporting? It's 50-50. It's truly
it is because of that demand and all of those new jobs and the money that's being pumped in by just people. I think we have a chance of just holding this. I still think we're going to hold it off towards the end of the year.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure of that, but if I'm wrong, then hey, that's fine.
Candace, nobody's ever going to be right. No one's ever going to be right. We all have different opinions every day. That's the best part of this crew. We all have different.
Just to answer that question, if this one does push us into a recession, I'm thinking we're probably looking at 9 to 16 months.
Just so people have an idea of the historical average, 12 to 18 months is a bear market. So like if we've already been in a bear for 6 months, the recession maybe just begins. Candace nailed it. Probably 12 months. Like to think that like we're not going to really feel China till the fall. Okay. We're not going to feel China to the fall. Then we're going to really have impacts of food shortages in the fall and the winter. Okay. And then we got the new year happening with intense spending when savings rates are at the lowest levels. Low. Also, you want to hear another disturbing fact from the United States? I don't know about Canada because I don't track this country. The United States have some of their highest levels of credit card debt since the beginning of the pandemic. People, how they say, spend when inflation is high, right? That's what people say. Spend when inflation's high, get your money's worth. Friggin' credit card debt's through the roof. You give it another 6 to 9 months. I 100% believe when all these people are saying that 2023 will be bad, I think guys, the NASDAQ is down 22 to 27%. Let's look at the .com bubble, guys. Let's look at 2008. We're only halfway there. I hate to be the doom and gloom. It's not doom and gloom. What it is the best buying opportunity you've ever had in your adult life for the majority of people watching this channel. Simple as that. You're going to look back in 5 years and think, holy shit, I wish I listened to the 5 of those people when they said buy the dip during the worst economic downturn they've seen in their life.
Absolutely.
In my life.
Yeah, and even if we don't go into a recession, you're still going to have a lot of people who are going to be hurting big time as interest rates are going up. They have to start paying the piper.
Yep.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, I think what we have to do, and this is maybe one of the topics that we will do on our weekly panel discussion, is going back to the basics. Ryan, you started this channel when you were down and out, and it was all about nickeling and diming, and that's why the nickel and dime crew stuck, right? And I think it's coming back to, because Tim and I moving houses, this is a big jump up in our housing costs too, because we were not paying what we're paying for this little place. We've downsized. We went from 800 square feet to 545 square feet. We had a shed with storage area, and we're paying a ton less in rent. And we got this place, and we're paying a ton more in rent. And so our housing costs have gone up as well. So we're going to have to tighten our belt. And Tim's going to put me on a financial diet again as soon as the move is done. I can just feel it coming, and all the rest of it. But it was for the right reasons. We had to. They were the people our friends that we lived with. They were selling, so we had to do that. And there wasn't like there was a choice. And my mom's, not that well. So we moved back closer to be here with family, which is important, was an important thing for us to do. And she's very, very appreciative that we're back, less than 10 minutes to her house. So, like all that stuff. But the crew was founded on the basic principles of what can you cut out? We've gotten fat again, physically and physically.
I will tell you this. I was talking to my parents today on my live stream about the life that I live now that I do this. We're talking about jobs and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know how I woke up. I don't know what changed when I woke up over the last 2 or 3 days, but I felt the exact same way. I've almost been gluttonous. Like I've been, for instance, not doing YouTube's videos because the bull market of 2021 is paying me a full-time wage to do nothing. And it's like we've all got, and that's how it affects me. So I've got to get out of that kick. How it affects the rest of us, for instance, our stocks are not what they were. Let's get used to it. Okay. Apple's not what it was. Everything's changed. We got spoiled by the best year you could have ever started investing. Right. Every one of us made the most money we made bank. And it's right.
But based on false principles, because that's what I was saying all year long. Now what we have to do is we have to go back to basic business principles. And you need to evaluate companies for what they're doing, their earnings, what they're all about. And you have to invest in it, whether it's a crypto project or whether it's a regular business. You have to evaluate it like you would any other business. Does it have use case? All
back
of those
to the fundamentals.
Yes.
Yes. For instance, guys, I love this because I love the platform Shopify. It's really fantastic for people who want to use it. As for a company, they used to be $2,200 Canadian. Okay. Now they're like 200 and change. Okay. They were the biggest software company in the entire country of Canada. They're the biggest. Okay. Shopify completely lost like 80%. So for people tripping about their penny stocks or their marathons or their Hive, relax, okay? PayPal's lost it too. This is like when we're talking about, Candace just said fundamentals. There's a thing called EPS, okay? So like earnings per share. So I don't know what Shopify is. Let's say $200 right now, okay? I don't know what it is. It's somewhere around there, maybe 100 more, whatever. So their earnings per share are like $1 or less than $1. So they're trading at like 170 times earnings. Okay. That's worse than Tesla. Okay. And Tesla is a hype stock. We've got to get back to mentality. And that's already losing 80% of its value. So what it makes me think is if you're already 150 times more trading for more than you're worth, losing 80%, how effed up were we? How effed up were we? That we're thinking everything's going to the moon. I'm buying Doge. I'm buying XYZ. I'm buying Upstart. I'm buying any YouTube stock that anyone mentions because it's YouTube. It's 2021. Let's go. That's what happened last year, almost in a sickening rate. Look at Apple. Someone want to bring up the 5-year Apple? Don't bring it up. But like anyone who wants to go on there and look it up, bring up the 5-year Apple. Looks like this. Okay. Follow my finger. Slow, slow, slow. Up. Little bit down. Okay. You know what? Apple realistically still has to come down to here before we're even on the growth curve that takes to account COVID. And that's talking about Apple, which was as good as cash. That's what people said. It's as good as cash. And it's like, oh my God, this whole market has taught us one thing. Those who don't belong are already gone. We don't have to worry about them even hearing us. They're gone. They didn't make it. They're weak. They're out. They're stock tourists, right? Just like there's YouTube tourists. We know a few of them. There's stock tourists too. They'll be back. But this massive wipeout, like what I was bringing up earlier, I think I got sidetracked when I was asking Tim, how long do you think it's going to take the retail trader to come back into crypto? I wanted to relate it to this story. Then I actually want you guys to answer this question. When I think about people like my mom, it's taken me forever just to get her into stocks. She's just getting used to crypto. My father, first thing he says to me when I call him the other day, how's your crypto doing? He knows exactly how it's doing. Okay. He's tracking it because my mom's in it. He knows exactly what's going on. How easy do you think it's going to be to convince him that that's real, that crypto, that Bitcoin is a real thing? Now that this happened, you've lost an entire boomer generation that's not coming in now. So now it's almost like.
But again, Ryan, I think that's all been planned.
I don't believe that's been planned.
I do. I believe that there is, because there's so few Bitcoin out there. I believe that this is totally manipulated market space. Truthfully,
you think
drive
so
the price down so that they could go and pick up at a sale price. It's all manipulated.
How much Bitcoin did the Luna Foundation buy to hedge themselves for this stable coin? Tens of thousands of Bitcoin, right? What did that do to the price of Bitcoin? Right. Nothing. Hold on. You want to know why it did nothing? Because the second they were willing to buy, you had equally. I mean, the fact that it didn't move proves that there was that many people anxious to get the F out of Bitcoin. That's the only way you can buy tens of thousands of Bitcoin and have the price stay stagnant. So that's what I'm saying, is that I'm not knocking you, Nancy. What I'm saying is that this unfortunately has impacted the psyche of the uneducated crypto investor, or the wannabe crypto, or the soon to be crypto, because they're going to, like I said, headline chasers, right? How many people and comments do you think we're already dealing with headline chasers? Oh, crypto's a joke. I'm starting to see all that come back again. So it's like,
but this time last year, everybody said the exact same thing.
But it wasn't tied to the stock market, though.
I know, but that was inevitable. That was inevitable. I've been calling for this for an entire year. This is why I was sitting on the sidelines for so long. Sure. And then finally I thought, oh man, well, I'm the stupid one. I better.
Nancy, we have to think, how many people already think the stock market's a scam? A
Tons.
lot refuse to invest in the stock market. If the stock market's a scam, they're really not looking at crypto. All I'm saying is that it's really going to be hard to onboard now. Like, that's the thing. Like, coming from a sales perspective, if I was to think about myself,
I know, but I'm not thinking that that's who's looking at all this at this point in time. I don't think the retail investor is going to move the market. I think there's
no institutions. There's no institutional money.
I think with the regulatory clarity that's coming down the line on this, I think that the institutions are looking for new places to put money. I think this is all the perfect storm that had to happen. The regulators in the US will start to figure this stuff out over the next, while we're in this downturn moment in time. Then once the regulators figure it all out, then the institutions start buying like lunatics, and it prices the regular retail investor out of the market. I still firmly believe it, because of all the backroom conversations that go on that you and I are not privy to, and the big money moves the market. They were looking for a way, because they know this regulation's coming.
But there's like borderline no institutional investment, and at the same time, we have whale trackers everywhere. And if you're not following them on Twitter, do it. We know if Michael Saylor moves. We know if Tesla moves. We know if the Winklevosses move. We know if every whale ever were to move. I know,
but the hedge funds can't do much about it until there's regulatory clarity.
But okay, exactly. So exactly, that is kind of my point. Is my vision though of a crypto winter? I'm thinking Bitcoin's going to have a 12-month. Now that Bitcoin is tracking the NASDAQ 100 more so than ever before, unlike last year. now that Bitcoin is tracking the market more than ever before, if a market statistically has a 0 to 18 month bear market, why wouldn't crypto winter last 0 to 18 months? Like,
no,
I mean,
it probably will.
That's what I'm thinking. So that's what all I'm saying is this institutional money is not coming this year.
Not this year, because they don't have regulatory clarity. They can't hold it properly on their balance sheet till they get regulatory clarity. Kevin O'Leary has been saying this from day one, that there's big money that wants to move in this space. All these conversations are being had. They're waiting for the regulatory clarity on how they hold it on their balance sheet. There's nowhere for them to do that properly because most of them have to comply to be on the stock exchange.
So you want to hear something interesting too? You know how we're talking about a spot Bitcoin ETF for the United States, right? I brought up my concerns in the past with respect to trading hours, but there's something even more pressing that I was reading about on Cointelegraph regarding the Canadian ETFs. So you know how I love Neptune Digital is because they have zero debt and their NAV, their net asset value, is more than their market cap. Some of these Bitcoin spot ETFs in Canada have a NAV over 20% of the trading price. How the F is that a spot ETF? That's not a spot ETF. And that's why the United States is so hesitant to get involved, because we have spot ETFs that are trading 20% lower with respect to net asset value. And OTC from Coinbase wouldn't affect overall liquidity of Bitcoin in general, right? So that's a moot point. But like that one wouldn't even come up. But sorry, now I totally forgot that we were talking about that. Does anyone remember what I was just saying?
No.
Damn it.
I know, but maybe this is the place to call it. I'm getting a little tired. And the people above us, this is the only other thing, the people above us, we can kind of hear some things that go on around there. So the dog goes kind of banana bread crazy when he hear there's something they drop something up there and it's rolling around. So the dog's like, anyways. So Candace, what you got coming up on your channel this week?
Well, tomorrow I have a video on inverse ETF. So if you want a way to to make a little bit of money while everything is in the red, this may be the video for you.
Let me back up your video here, Candace, because I want to give you a plug for a second. My channel members know for a fact that I've been buying hedges. I let only my channel members know what I buy. Candace is going to be talking about those hedges because those are the only things that have been printing me money left and right. Candace is going to bring every one of those up tomorrow. If you're curious on more detail on what I'm doing, like that's the video to go because the hedges are printing cash. So
yeah,
watch our video.
So that's going to be pretty darn cool. And then once we get to Sunday, it'll be this week. And luckily enough, Elon has done stuff again. So there will be another rendition of What in the Banana Bed's Going On with Elon.
You know what's funny? There's almost something to be said for, I've been debating it myself. You could almost have a weekly segment of the Elon show. What did he do this week? It's
becoming such a point that I'm almost thinking about making a graphic for just to introduce that one segment.
I was thinking about doing a video like every week, just an Elon video. Every day, all day, this guy. I love him. I'm a fanboy. I don't care what anyone says. Look, he's changing the world. Let me have that. Jeez, I love him.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's for the most part the week. And of course, there's shorts every day. I have changed up the shorts a bit. So it's now 4 original shorts, Monday to Thursday. Friday is a quote short. And then Saturday and Sunday are this week clips shorts.
Awesome. Love it. Ken, are you now doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday videos?
No, I have my Friday and Saturday and the freaking Oracle mobile show. So whenever I'm on the road and I feel like going mobile, then I go mobile.
He's like the bookmobile, but less educational.
That's why everybody has to turn their notifications on so they know when I'm going to be on, because I'm not going to post it all over the internet.
That's funny. That's funny. And you got a new cast of crew. We tune in and watch from time to time. And actually most of the time we're catching you either live or on repeat. And you got a bunch of
not Pete
and repeat. Don't even get me started on that dad joke. Anyways, Right. What you got going on?
Videos come and go. I've decided there will no longer be any false promises for videos until I can obviously get my shit together. So videos will come as they come. I've got lots of ideas. I feel like $1 million. I'm not going to get into the details. I was telling people before the show, I don't know. Maybe it's I'm drinking. I don't know. I don't even want to get into it, but I feel like $1 million. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is our market close live streams. We're going to rock and roll with that. You don't need Tuesday. You don't need Thursday because they're middays that people figure stuff out anyway. We're going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That gives me time for my side hustle. Videos will come out and be conquered as I feel better and as we rock and roll. Simple as that. We're coming into 2022. I feel better. I don't know if it's just, do you guys feel like we've just finished a cycle? I don't know about you guys. Like for me, I almost feel like I've come full circle on something, but I don't know what it is yet. Because when the markets, I wake up and they're bleeding every day, I don't even care. It's like, I don't know what's happened. It's just, I don't know.
You know why you don't care? Because we've been talking about it for so damn long. It's like, okay, we knew that was going to happen.
We've been calling it for 9 months here. Like, yeah.
Right. But look at it, took 9 months for that to happen. Now the market's down, and we'll talk about them being down like we did last summer. All summer long, we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it and talked about it and talked about it until the cows came home. And then all of a sudden something happens and they start to climb back up a little bit. And then we all get excited and then they fall back down again. And I have yet to see I don't think I've experienced a crypto bull run yet. I don't think that's happened. Exactly.
I don't know about that. You bought pretty early. I think every moment after you bought's been pretty bullish. I don't know.
But then there was supposed to be this big thing that happened with alt season and
you know what? Can we all just say this? Alt season doesn't exist. Okay. It's a freaking myth. Okay. There's no alt season. Is there a stock season? Okay. Like, let's just get real for a second. That doesn't exist. There's a lot of things we've started to freaking realize. Crypto winter, aka a bear market. There's just things we're starting to associate with one another. We're coming like full term here, full cycle here. It's amazing, but I feel better. Oh, it's 7:30 in India. Hold on. This is a very interesting thing. If anybody wants to track very interesting movements in Bitcoin, wait between right now and 30 minutes from now. India wakes up, and that's when their trade desk activates and stuff like that. That's probably the biggest bullish territory that you can get outside of China. China bans it, whatever. You will always see sentiment reaction. And if you even see a minuscule sell-off, but for 5 minutes, and it dips like crazy, maybe markets come back a little bit, you'll know how stuff's going to open in Europe. Anyway, thank you, Christine, for letting me know that India opened up. I'll call you in a minute.
Well, now I'm looking.
India, between now and 30 minutes from now, you'll always notice increased volatility, period. If anyone wants to know how I trade without doing all my crazy TA,
well, guess what? It's up from when I was looking at it earlier.
Okay, well, track the next 30 minutes is all I'm saying, because that's when their trade desks are activated.
Interesting. Anyways, thank you, everybody. I think Putin has a lot to do with the market uncertainty. Teddy Gator, you're right. Thank you guys so much. And Ahmed Khan, yes, you're right. Bitcoin was 60K for a bit. You are right. There was all of that stuff. It just wasn't the explosion I thought it was going to be. Anyways, on that note, have a good week, everybody, and we will talk to you next week.